Hey, I'm Ty Dillon, and welcome to the Fatherhood podcast. We're having conversations with men who were once trapped in dysfunction, but are now breaking the cycle and building the family unit that they never had. It's our hope that they encourage you to do the same. I'm excited about today's episode with Altovis Brewster. Altovis came up from a pretty tough environment. He saw some things that no kid should ever see. He was able to not become a victim of the street, but not without the involvement of struggle, selling drugs, and even being arrested in front of his kid and ultimately leading to incarceration. But now on the other side of it, he's an amazing man who is giving his family the life that he never had. You're really going to enjoy this episode.
And he tells me they have an outstanding warrant for my arrest. And up in a single-parent household, it's me and my mom.
My mom is trying to play both roles.
It's challenging for me to kind of articulate what they feel like. I seen him get the result that he didn't want.
You know, people ask me, how do you feel about this? I don't know how I feel.
I started compromising who I was. Now, mind you, I told you my son, I was 2 years old. My dad left me.
Excited to know that didn't break you.
That got derailed. I got hurt in high school. I need them as much as they need me.
Welcome to the Fatherhood podcast. And today my guest is the one and only Altovis Brewster. What's up, Altovis?
I'm good, Pastor. I'm good, man.
All right.
Blessed to be here this evening.
Yeah, good to have you here, man.
Yes, sir.
I thought, with what we're doing with Fatherhood podcast, you were like prime candidate for. Man, you fit exactly what we're looking to put out there. I know your story, been around you for years, so I've seen the transition from where you were to where you are. Man, I'm excited about you sharing today, and man, I believe it's going to help a lot of people. So let's go, let's roll back just a little bit, and let's talk about how you came up, man. Let's talk about you and I come from similar types of backgrounds, and so across the country, I'm in one area, you're in another area, but as we've talked, we found out we have a lot of things in common, just kind of coming up. So what was your household environment like? With your parents, with your mom, dad, that type of thing, siblings, what that look like?
Whew. Now that's a different, man, that's a whole nother story there.
Yeah.
It was just, I grew up in a single parent household, just me and my mom.
Like me?
Dad, yeah. Dad wasn't really around. It was just, me and mom, and she just, she instilled in me that it was just us against the world. So that's how I looked at everything. Really didn't, poverty-stricken, really didn't have what I wanted. I was our only son, and she spoiled me, She spoiled me. But I never asked for things. But she, she wanted to give me the world, but she gave me what she could. And she would, I got the type of mom that would just sacrifice something, a necessity, to get me something that she knew I wanted.
Wow. Yeah.
And, man, now looking at it, as an adult, I knew that wasn't the right choice to make, wasn't wise, but I understand where it come from, and I always love my mama for that.
Yeah, I get it, man. People think, I shouldn't say what people think, because I can't read people's mind, but, you see pro athletes and they win a Super Bowl. I love you, mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they see,
feel that.
Yeah, NBA players, or Kevin Durant, when he got the MVP a few years ago, he's like, you the real MVP, and he broke down crying. I believe, man, there's something different about a mother's love, especially when you have that family dynamic, when mom is trying to play both roles and make sure that you don't feel any type of insecurities or inadequacies or those type of things. I get it, man. When I got older and I realized the value of $1, and then I think about what my mom was making back in those days and the shoes and stuff I was asking for. I kind of had to tell my mom, I'm sorry for even asking for the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't like you then asking for stuff. I'd ask. You know what I mean? So, mom was trying to fill that role because there is a significant gap there when the father's not there. So, you have mom playing that role, but It's never just the same. It doesn't matter what they buy us, what they do. It's still that in the back of your mind, okay, what's up with dad? You know what I mean? That type of thing. So, you know, did you know what was going on at the time, or, you know, was it just, you know, Pops wasn't there, wasn't around, or?
Yeah, I think Pops really just didn't see it for what it was, you know, as a father, you know.
Yeah.
He was caught up in the streets, you know, doing his own thing, you know. And I guess he never felt the effects or the ripple effect, or never, you know, considered, you know, how that would affect the next generation, you know. So I just I don't know, you know, and it's hard to it's challenging for me to kind of articulate what they feel like, even to this day, you know, as a father who's fathering 2 young boys, you know, because that was my norm growing up, you know, without having a father, you know. So I know it's a void there. I know it's some hurt there, but I just don't, you know. I just know I don't want that for mine, you know. And you know, that's I don't regret it, you know, because it's a lot of guys grew up in a wholesome household with their father present, and they have kids and they just do the opposite. So you know, I look at that pain as a blessing, you know. I turn that into a, you know, a passion to always be present for mine, because whatever that is, I can't pinpoint it. I don't want that for mine. So, you know, at least let me be, you know, be there. So
100%, man. And I know it may, you know, sound to some people that are looking from the outside in, like, you know, kind of what is he saying? But I completely get what you're saying. You know, people ask me, how do you feel about this? I don't know how I feel. You know, and I don't
what it's supposed to feel like.
I don't know what it's supposed to feel.
Never had it.
Yeah, it's just this is what it is. You know, so how do you feel about? I don't know. You know, but you work through it, like you said, and utilize it for fuel. And sometimes we're taught what to do, then other times we're taught what not to do.
Not to do.
You know, and
I have that perspective too as well. Like, you know, I've seen some things that my dad done in the past, and it's like, okay, you know, I didn't take that route, and, you know, I give him credit for that, you know.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I learned from what to do and what not to do. I learned how to carry on and how to manage a household with, you know, by seeing an example in front of me by my mom, you know, and then what not to do by what I didn't see from my dad, or what he did do that, you know. I seen him get the result that he didn't want, you know, so.
One of the things I learned too as an adult, man, you start seeing things from an adult's perspective, and you're like, okay, you know, it allows me to have a little more empathy, you know, because you realize it's the pressures of the world, and then you consider the age that maybe your dad was, you know, when you came along, and decisions and things pulling on him. It's just it's a complex. It's a lot of dynamics, you know, but there is a ripple effect, you know, for that, you know. So you and I were able to turn the corner and make some different decisions, but, you know, I would dare to say not without some transitions along the way, you know, trying to figure it out, you know, trying to see what's going on, you know, trying to see what the world is all about. And one thing that a dad does, and I'm saying this from a perspective of what I try to be for my kids, is to help to be a shield and to be a protector of certain things that they ought not be exposed to at an early age. And so when you don't have that person there or that figure there, then it's like, okay, let me see if the stove is hot. You know, they say it's hot, but let me. Did you go through that phase where you were just trying to see what was going on, getting in trouble?
Yes, I went through a lot. You know, being in that type of environment where everything around you was, you know, is not ideal for a kid. You know, experiencing stuff, seeing things you shouldn't see as a child. I saw a lot, and my mom wasn't the type of mom that was like, you got to be in before the street light come on, or you got to let me know. She just didn't, you know, she didn't care. She let me go, you know. she just always called me the man of the house, you know, just kind of gave me that title.
What age were you when she was calling you that?
Man, I was a young one, about 7 or 8, you know, and she always called me that. That's the man of the house. If she brought a guy by, or a man friend or whatever, he had to come see me. He had to come through me first, you know. So it's like, she gave me that authority, you know. So, man, but yeah, without having that shield, you know, you spoke of, man, I saw a lot, you know. Something a lot of stuff I shouldn't have seen. You know?
How'd you respond to that?
I just kind of cut through it to a certain. I got to my teen years, and it was kind of like, you know, kind of loosen up a little bit, you know. So, hung around a bunch of people who done the opposite, and it was just like, you know, been with them this long, and I don't know what switched, but it just. I guess I had been around them so long enough. Yeah. You know, I started flowing in that direction.
Yeah.
That environment, something more. So, got into the drinking. Wasn't a heavy drinker. You know, it was just occasional. Never smoked. You know, never. That's, you know, it's crazy though. Never smoked.
Right.
Gambled. You know, I got into this relationship with a female. And I think that's where it all started, the spiral. Invested so much time and energy in this relationship that, you know, I started compromising who I was to try to maintain this relationship. And I learned a valuable lesson. I learned that, you know, from my Apostle Howard, he always said, what you compromise to keep, you're going to lose anyway. Compromise to get something, you got to compromise to keep it. And what you compromise to keep, you're going to
lose it anyway. That's right.
And, man, I got outside of myself, got outside of my character. The stuff that I just stood on, I just kind of laid to wayside to try to maintain this relationship. Got over to dealing drugs, started running with that crowd. It was never me. Even the ones that dealt in the street like that, they knew that wasn't me. But, you know, oh well. Went on and did some time, got busted, did some time in jail. And I looked up and I was just like, man, how I get here. I used to be, you know, I used to do these things. Now I'm way over here doing these things.
Right.
And now I'm back, you know, at square one. Thought I was going somewhere. Now I'm back at square one with some luggage on me. Yeah. You know, so I had to work through that. I had to just sit down and think through that stuff and then realize, man, where it all started from. And I said, man, that's how I came to being married with my wife today.
Yeah. See, I didn't know if you was gonna go there with that, man. But you know, I remember some of them days, man, and I remember transitioning. You know, and it seems like when you're trying to make the transition, it's like stuff be trying to pull you back. Cause I remember you transitioning, trying to get it right. You know, man, trying to work through the marriage thing, kid on the way, this type of thing. Then the big pullover, it pull you over in the box Chevy.
Man, that was the toughest. Man, that was the toughest experience in my life to this day. To this day, that was the hardest because I remember my mom said my dad left. He had a whole. By the way, this is a whole side note right here. He had a whole nother family, married and mother sisters in a whole nother household. All the while he was with my mom.
Wow.
Yeah, so he left when I was 2. When I came to that fork in the road and decided I was going to turn my life around and live right and, you know, do right by the ones that was connected to me. I'm working, trying to provide for my wife, got a son. Man, we what, a year in marriage?
Yeah, fresh.
A year in, yeah. He 2 years old. She's trying to go through nursing school. She's not working. I'm working 2 jobs. and pass, come back and hunt me. I'm leaving my second shift job. She called, say, Maurice needs some diapers, so I said, okay. I stopped by the store and grabbed some on my way. We was down one car. I put my old box Chevy back together. I had just put a transmission in it, so I'm like, I'm ready to drive it to work while she can have the other car to go, but she need to go while I'm working. So I know I had just got the car running probably like the day before, and still need to get tag and insurance and all of that. I was like, it's at work. I'm driving straight to work back. And go get the diapers. So head home, get the diapers before I go to my third shift. I passed the police coming down the highway. Past the police. They had somebody pulled over. So me in my mind, I'm like, whew, okay.
Glad it ain't me.
Yeah. I'm going to go this back road and go around and go drop these diapers off. So, man, here I am, my smooth self, trying to get on around the police. I take the back road. They didn't let these people go. I run across the police, passing the police on the back road, and my headlights flicker. They go out right in front of the police officer. I'm like, man, I look in that mirror and I see that 3-point turn, and I'm like, oh, man, here we go. So I'm like a block away from home. He turn around, and I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I'm right there. Do I gun it? Do I get these diapers to the house? Or do I just pull? I said, man, nah, I'm going to go on and get it behind whatever it is. Just deal with it. So I pulled over. Told me about my tag, my insurance, and I explained to him. I said, look, I just put the transmission in it like yesterday. I said I was going, as soon as they opened up, I'm going to get this tag and insurance stuff, squared away. I'm just going to work to get my son diapers. So officer get my license. He come back, and he tells me they have an outstanding warrant for my arrest in Georgia. And I'm like, how so? I'm like, man, this stuff, I done dealt with this. I done paid my fine, did my time, like restitution, all that. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be in the clear.
Right.
So I'm like, man. So I'm sitting right there. I'm on the phone. I'm calling my wife, calling my grandma, letting them know they didn't pull me over.
Yeah.
And so come back. Dispatcher never ring in and said, yeah, we want him, bring him in. The officer called again, and he waiting. I'm like, man, just let me. Yeah, and I'm like, let me just get these diapers to my kid,
Yeah. Wow.
And by that time, my wife coming around the corner in the stroller, because she know my past,
Mm-hmm.
and she know what I dealt with, what I went through. And, man, they called back and said, yeah, we want him. And she was out there crying. My son, now mind you, I told you my son, I was 2 years old. My dad left me. My son was 2 years old, seeing me get put in the police car and taken. I'm like,
wow.
All I'm trying to do is,
cycle, man.
Yes. So I'm like, man, that cut deep. That cut deep, because I was thinking like, man, all I'm trying to do is do right, and here this stuff is trying to pull me back in. Now, that's one thing if I was still living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go and book me in. I know you got me. I know I was wrong. Go and book me in, but this a whole different.
Right.
So that was tough.
Tough, man.
And to walk around, like I said before, that pain, that void that I had not having my father, there present. I couldn't articulate it, but I wanted to make sure my son didn't go through that. Whatever that is, whatever that.
Yeah.
You just don't know. The damage that it causes a person, the shortcomings you may experience due to not having the father in your life. So, and I used to always walk around with him in my arms and tell him, I'd never leave you. I'm always gonna be here. I'm always gonna be here. I love you, this and that. And so for him to see that, oh man, that crushed me.
Yeah, man. But one thing I have to say about you is, you came back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
You did your time, did what you had to do, came back focused, and been off to the races ever since. So man, I'm excited to know that didn't break you. Yeah. It made you in a sense.
Yeah.
I believe that we live our life not just for us, but we live our life for those that are attached to our life.
Yes.
And so those who would see this, you were going through that so that you could even be on this podcast and say with firsthand knowledge that, you know what, you can come through this, you can come through being arrested, you can come through running the streets, whatever it is, and you don't have to repeat the cycle. You know, even when it looked like my dad left at 2, man, it looks like I'm about to leave when he's 2, man. You know, he said, no, we're going to break this cycle. Yeah. You know, so I'm proud that you did that, man, and I just see the trajectory, you know, and then on top of that, you know, our audience is probably hearing you say, he changed the transmission. Like he just run over that. You know what I mean? He just run over that. Well, you know, tell us about what you do by trade and where that came from.
Oh man. 11 years in, technician, Chevrolet, GM. And that right there, that's another long story. Man, my dream was to buy my mama a house, whatever she wanted, never have to work again, never have to stress about nothing, you know. And my sole goal was to go NFL. It's like football, you know, so that got derailed. I got hurt in high school, injured my back, and tried to play through it until one day I got stuck on my weight bench getting ready for school one morning. Couldn't stand up. And told my mom about it. We went to the ER. They x-rayed me, CAT scan.
Right.
Doctor come in and said, it's a good thing y'all came when you did, you know. And he said he had pinched nerves. He said I had pinched nerves bunched in my lower back and pulled back muscles. And it was due to taking hits in the back in spring camp.
Wow.
And I tried to work through it, but it got unbearable. And he was like, you have to change your schedule. You got to change your schedule. Got to take him out of conditioning, PE, no weightlifting. He can't even do PE.
Wow. I
had to change my electives. So what he said, he said he's very lucky. That's what he told me. He said very lucky. He could have got, you know, taken a hit in the back and be in a wheelchair.
Wow.
So that crushed me because that was like, I didn't have a plan B. That was my punch ticket right there. I was like, man, I was ready to get out of school. And I was like, let me just do 2 years in college.
Right.
Man, I'm going to run these stats up. I'm about to go crazy. And I'm like, enter the draft. I didn't even care about playing. I just wanted to get that big check.
Yeah.
But, man, it didn't go as planned. So went to the counselor. We went, talked to the counselor, sat down, was going over a few electives, and you know, I was pretty much just, it wasn't football, so I didn't care about nothing. It was like, it was either football or nothing. But came across automotive repair, and I was like, man, I don't want to do that. I didn't care about no cars, man. I don't want to do this stuff. And I went back and forth. I fought with that counselor, man, for about a week. I fought with about a week, and then she come to me and she was like, look, she's like, just try it out. Just give it a try. I had been caved in by this point. She said, just give it a try. If you don't like it, come back and we'll find you something else. I don't know, man. It just sparked something in me. I fell in love with it. So, man, I think it was about 2 weeks in. I go back to the counselor. I said, hey, sign me up for next semester. You know, so I'm locked in. And man, the light bulb kicked on. I said, dog, my dad was a well-known mechanic. My uncles was mechanics.
Wow.
I said, man, it's in me. You know, I'm like, okay. So, and me, I would think of myself as a daddy's boy at heart, you know, and I always wanted to do, you know, things that would bring honor to my father, you know. So I was like, hey, this right here, I make my dad proud. Yeah. And that was just another nugget right there, another gem that kind of just kept me going in that direction.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just amazing how, you know, your dad's not there like you would have liked him to be.
Yeah.
And but yet you still got this, you know, this gift running in your veins. Yeah. It's still a deposit there where you still come full circle. Yeah. Your dad's well known as a mechanic, and then here you go, you fighting it.
Yeah.
But it's still pulling you and tugging you. Yeah. And now, you know, that gift has been able to provide for your family and buy your home and do these types of things, you know, as a a skilled technician, that type of thing. So, man, it's just amazing, the things that are innate and the impact of a dad, even in his absence, it's still that residue is kind of there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm listening to you, and you're like, hey, I want to make my dad proud. Yeah. I want to make my dad proud, man. That's huge. Yeah. That's a big thing. So, what did he say when he found out, man? You working on cars and you're doing that type of thing.
Oh man, he's smiling.
Yeah, you smiling right now. I can tell.
That's the smile he had on his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got together from time to time, work on stuff together, stuff like that. But that was a good bonding moment. He wasn't there always. When he wasn't out running the streets, he probably in prison. I tell you, my dad was a wild man. I used to always say, well, he done everything but died. And he was a wild man. He done a lot of time in prison, multiple trips. So I just know one and done. But when he was there, that was a time for us to catch up and and that was a good way of bonding.
Yeah, man. You said you were daddy's boy at heart. Yeah. I said, well, the Lord gave you double for your trouble because you got two daddy's boys. And they love their daddy, man.
And that's and they such a blessing to me.
Yeah.
Not having my father in place, I could see some shortcomings, character struggles, with myself, and it's like having mine. It's like they helped me, develop in areas that I didn't develop in before, and it's like, man, I just come to the realization I need them as much as they need me.
Man, so perfectly stated. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Again, we've known each other for years, and you've always been solid guy. What you say is what you do. Your word means something. Your character, your integrity. I love that about you. But man, you went to another level. A few years ago when your dad, got down and sick, and just to see you continue to honor your dad and to be there for him, even in his last days. Can you talk a little bit about that, man? What rose up in you to say, I got to be there for him?
I think it's just always been there, the love for a father, despite what he gave, he never, I know wholeheartedly, in his absence, he still, he still loved me, he didn't, I know he probably didn't want it to be the way it was, but, and just, I don't know, it's just that love for my father always was there,
Yeah, man, I watched you walk that thing out with honor and dignity, man. Hey, I'm going to see my dad. Hey, I got to go to the hospital. I got to go take care of this business. I got to go make sure this is in order, whatever it is. And, man, you modeled something what a son is supposed to do, despite whatever, we may think is right, wrong, indifferent, for you to stand up and for you to be there to the end, man, it said a whole lot about you.
I thank God that I was that way towards my father. I know a lot of people broken relationships, with their parents, and they could care less. They wouldn't put a fire if they was, in the house fire. They wouldn't spit water on them, throw water on them or nothing, So.
Well, look, man, you have a lot to share with your sons, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure you lead them in the right direction. I see you do it. Yeah. There's some young men that may be watching this that don't have that father figure. And what would you tell them where they are? Or better yet, what would you tell, Booney back in the day? Would you have wanted someone to tell you? And I believe those same words may be impactful to a young man watching this podcast.
Man, that's so much. That's a loaded one there, but I would say don't throw in the towel. Don't give up. you know, get connected with somebody. You know, I didn't have my father, my biological father, when I should have at a young age, but it was a lot of father figures around, you know, positive role models, and just man, get connected with somebody, man, and then don't give up, you know.
Let me ask you this: what do you think it takes to be a great dad for your kids?
Man, I think it's right here on this shirt. Man, a protector, provider, someone that guides. You know, I think that's all in the makeup of a man and manhood. You know, I remember at a point in my life where I would get frustrated with something or feel like it was something that was too difficult, and I would be like, "Hey, man, you know what? I'm out. I quit." You know, but I come to a place now where I face that head on. I gotta slay that. I gotta slay that giant. I gotta lay it to rest, because if I don't, I've learned that I'm leaving it for the next generation to face that giant that I didn't slay. And the hardest thing that you will want to see is see your kid come up and quit. Be a quitter. Be, you know, when it get tough. Yeah. So that helps me. That's why I say I need them as much as they need me. So
you were telling me most recently just even about your son listening to you with sports.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude. Man, what is going on? I'm trying to pass that torch. I'm like, boy, I had that
fire.
Do you
know who your dad? Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
you need to listen to me. Yeah. Do you know who I was?
Your granddad, an athlete, was an athlete. Your grandma was an athlete.
Your grandma.
Hey. I said, man, your mom ran track, man. And then I take him around some of my guys I grew up with. They said, boy, your daddy was a beast on that football field. Like, hey, man, he was. And I'm like, he got it, and it's like, man, but to see him flip that switch in that scrimmage game, I said, oh man.
So what happened, man? Tell us what happened.
Man, my boy went out there and my boy was out there making plays.
Yeah.
He was out there making plays, making hits. And he was out there bouncing around, looking like my young self.
So I see where he get it from, huh?
Oh man, I'm sitting over there like, oh man, he got it. I'm like, oh man.
It brought you to tears, huh?
So I had to go over there and talk to him. I think he slipped on a play. A player came across the field. He was cutting him off, and he slid and missed the tackle. Guy got away. So man, I seen him over there beating himself up. So I had to go talk to him and tell him, like, man, look, next play mentality. Don't hold on to that, man. We all mess up. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
I said, man, you're doing good. Keep doing what you're doing. You know. I said, man, I'm proud of you. You know, he told me later. He said, Daddy, when you told me you was proud of me, he said, I started crying. And I was like, man, and that right there kind of made me sit back. It took me back for a minute. I got talking like, dog. And me, because I didn't think it was such a big deal. You know, I'm just talking to him. But, you know, for it to bring him to tears in front of his peers on the sideline, it was like, man, that's something.
So one of the amazing things is you got an opportunity to know for sure that you made your dad proud before he passed, you know. That's just had to be a wonderful feeling. Yes. And even with your son, just wanting to make you proud, you know, and bringing him to tears. Well, man, I want you to know that you have and are impacting so many people, and we want to just give you this. Take a look at this. There's some other folks who want you to know they're proud of you as well.
Altovis is not only my first cousin, but he's like a brother to me. He has always been there for me whenever I needed him. When I'm sick in the hospital, he's right there. He's Dr. Altovis at that time.
He's like the biggest brother I never had, but I always wanted, wishing I grew up with him. When I'm around him, it's always a smile. He's always imparted so much wisdom to me, even in the last year.
Altovis has really impacted my life on so many levels. I consider him my best friend. I am very thankful to have him as a friend.
Yeah, man, he inspires me just the way he interacts with his two sons, Michael and Maurice, man. he is definitely doing something positive, great in their lives, because I've never seen two kids love and gravitate towards him the way they do. So, man, it's just a blessing.
So, how does that make you feel to know you're having that kind of impact on your family, man, and those who are connected to you?
Man, blessed. I'm gonna cry when I get in the car. Yeah, man. Hold on. Yeah.
The movies buffs, they caught that.
Yeah.
The movie buffs. Yeah, I'm gonna cry when I get in the car.
Yeah, once it's sinking its thick skin.
Yeah.
It'll hit.
So you try to still be tough. Y'all see the body language. You trying to, he crossed his arms. He was holding it tight.
Man. Yeah.
Eyes was squinting. He's like, stay in there, tears.
Dog, boys, it's my birthday. It really, I don't know, man. It's just, I can't take the credit for it. You know, I give all the credit to God. You know, I give all the credit to God.
You do a stellar job at being a father, husband, and just a stand-up man. And so, man, I'm just glad to be connected to you.
Man, likewise.
Yes, sir.
I think had we not crossed paths, I couldn't say I'd be sitting here today, you know, winning in areas in my life that I am now without you, Pastor Ty, without the guidance, the teachings, the lessons, you know, man, just that connection, you know, it's important.
Yes, sir. Well, man, look, we're going to wrap this thing up because both of our voices are crackling. We're looking at the lights. We be in here ugly crying. And we can't do that on camera.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to save it for the car.
Yeah, save it for the car. I'm going to save mine for the car, too. So, man, I want you to know I appreciate you. Thanks for being on with us on this episode of Fatherhood, man. Yes, sir.